The communication array on Kepler station buzzed with an incoming transmission that made Chief Communications Officer Sarah Chen nearly drop her coffee. The signal was coming from outside human space, transmitted on frequencies that had been theoretically discussed but never actually detected. She quickly routed the message to the translation matrix, her hands trembling slightly as she realized what she was witnessing. "Commander Rodriguez, you need to see this immediately," Sarah called across the station's command center. The message was short, desperate, and written in broken standard galactic common that their computers could barely decode. Commander Miguel Rodriguez hurried over to Sarah's workstation, his weathered face creasing with concern. After 23 years in the United Earth Defense Force, he had seen plenty of strange transmissions, but nothing quite like this. The message appeared on his screen in stuttering text. "Help, we are, small research vessel, attacked by Vortac raiders, many ships, we cannot, please assist, coordinates follow, any help, we pay, we desperate." The coordinates placed the distress call in the Outer Rim, a dangerous region of space where pirates and raiders operated freely beyond the reach of most civilized governments. Rodriguez stared at the message, his mind racing through the implications. This was first contact with an alien species, but under the worst possible circumstances. "Sarah, how long would it take to reach these coordinates?" Rodriguez asked, already knowing he would have to make a decision that could change human history forever. "At maximum warp, about 18 hours, sir." "But, Commander, we're just a border patrol station. We have 3 corvettes and a handful of fighters. If these Vortac raiders have many ships as the message says." Rodriguez nodded grimly. Kepler station was indeed a small outpost, designed more for monitoring space traffic than engaging in major combat operations. But the desperation in that broken message tugged at something deep in his chest. Every fiber of his military training told him to forward this to Fleet Command and wait for orders. Every fiber of his humanity told him that 18 hours might be too long for whoever sent that message. "Get me a secure channel to Admiral Harrison at Titan Base," Rodriguez ordered. "And prep our ships for immediate departure. If Command approves this mission, I want to be ready to move in 30 minutes. Admiral Patricia Harrison's stern face appeared on the holographic display within minutes. She listened intently as Rodriguez explained the situation, her expression growing more serious with each detail. The Admiral was known throughout the fleet for her sharp strategic mind and her unwillingness to take unnecessary risks with her people. "Miguel, this is potentially first contact with an alien civilization. The protocols are clear, this should be handled by a full diplomatic and military task force, not a border patrol unit," Harrison said, but Rodriguez could hear the conflict in her voice. "Admiral, with respect, these people might not have time for protocols. They're under attack right now. Every minute we delay could mean lives lost," Rodriguez replied, knowing he was pushing the boundaries of military hierarchy. Harrison was quiet for a long moment, staring at something off-screen. Rodriguez had served under her before and knew she was weighing the political implications against the humanitarian imperative. Finally, she looked back at him with a resigned expression. "Rodriguez, I'm going to do something that will probably end both our careers if this goes wrong. You have authorization to respond to this distress call, but you are not to engage in any action that could be interpreted as aggressive unless directly fired upon. Your mission is humanitarian assistance only. I'm scrambling a full task force to follow you, but they won't arrive for at least 36 hours. "Understood, Admiral. Thank you for trusting my judgment on this. Don't thank me yet, Miguel. If this turns out to be some kind of trap or if you start an interstellar war, I'll court-martial you myself." Harrison out. The holographic display flickered off, leaving Rodriguez alone with the weight of his decision. He turned to address his command staff, who had been listening to the conversation with growing excitement and apprehension. "All right, people, you heard the Admiral. We're making history today, but we're doing it carefully. I want our 3 corvettes ready for departure in 20 minutes. Full combat readiness, but weapons powered down unless I personally authorize their activation. This is a rescue mission, not a military operation." Lieutenant Commander James Park, Rodriguez's second-in-command, stepped forward with obvious concern written across his face. "Sir, shouldn't we at least try to establish better communication with these aliens first? We don't know anything about them, their technology level, or their intentions." Rodriguez considered this valid point. "Good thinking, Park. Sarah, send a response on the same frequency they used. Keep it simple and direct. Sarah's fingers flew across her console as she composed a reply. Message sent, sir. Received your distress call. Human rescue ships en route to your coordinates. Estimated arrival 18 hours. Hold position if possible. Help is coming. Within an hour, the small human rescue fleet was racing through hyperspace toward the coordinates provided by the mysterious aliens. The three corvettes, UES Resilient, UES Guardian, and UES Defender, were newer ships, equipped with the latest human technology, but Rodriguez couldn't shake the feeling that they might be flying into a situation far beyond their capabilities. The journey through hyperspace gave Rodriguez time to study what little information they had about the region where they were heading. The outer rim was poorly mapped, with reports of various raider groups operating in the area. Intelligence suggested that most of these groups used outdated technology and relied more on surprise and numbers than advanced weaponry, but that was little comfort when facing unknown enemies in defense of unknown allies. Dr. Elizabeth Vasquez, the station's chief xenobiologist who had volunteered to join the mission, spent the journey analyzing the transmission for any clues about their new alien contacts. Her preliminary findings were intriguing. Commander, the linguistic structure of their message suggests a species with similar cognitive patterns to humans. The emotional content, the desperation, the polite request for help, the offer of payment, these all indicate a civilization with social concepts we can understand, she reported during a strategy meeting in the Resilience briefing room. That's encouraging, Doctor, but what about their technology? Can we determine anything about their capabilities from the transmission? Asked Lieutenant Commander Park. The signal was surprisingly weak for interstellar communication, which might indicate either limited power systems or older technology. However, the fact that they were able to translate their message into standard galactic common suggests they've had contact with other species before. Rodriguez leaned back in his chair, processing this information. So we're dealing with a species that's potentially less technologically advanced than us, but which has experience with galactic civilization. That could work in our favor, depending on who these Vortak raiders are. The hours passed slowly as the human ships continued toward their destination. Rodriguez found himself in his quarters, staring at a picture of his family back on Earth. His daughter had just started university, and his wife was working on a project to establish new agricultural colonies in the inner systems. They had no idea that he was potentially about to make first contact with an alien species. A soft chime from his communication system interrupted his thoughts. Commander, we're receiving another transmission from the alien vessel, Sarah's voice announced through the intercom. Rodriguez hurried back to the bridge, where Sarah was already working to decode the new message. This one was longer and seemed more coherent, as if the aliens had found someone with better language skills to compose it. Human ships, thank you for responding. We are Zolani Research Expedition, studying ancient ruins. Vortak pirates attacked. They demand surrender. We refuse. They threaten to destroy us. Many Vortak ships. We hide in asteroid field. Fuel running low. Please hurry. Dr. Vasquez looked up from her analysis with obvious excitement. Commander, this is remarkable. They're calling themselves Zolani, and they're apparently archaeologists or scientists studying ancient ruins. The fact that they refuse to surrender to pirates suggests a species with strong principles. Or they're carrying something the pirates really want, Park observed more cynically. Either way, we're committed now. 8 hours until we reach the coordinates. Rodriguez nodded, his mind already shifting to tactical considerations. I want all department heads to review their emergency protocols. If we're walking into a trap or a battle beyond our capabilities, I want options for getting our people out alive. And I want our engineering teams to prepare emergency aid packages in case the Zolani ship is damaged. Chief Engineer Tony Martinez spoke up from his position at the engineering console. Sir, I've been thinking about the technical challenges we might face. If the Zolani ship is damaged, we might not be able to dock with them or use our standard emergency procedures. I recommend we prepare some universal emergency supplies: oxygen, water, basic medical supplies that could be transferred even if we can't establish a physical connection. Good thinking, Chief. Make it happen. As the human ships drew closer to their destination, the tension on the bridge was obvious. This wasn't just a rescue mission anymore, it was humanity's introduction to the galactic community. Rodriguez knew that everything they did in the next few hours would be studied and analyzed by future historians, assuming any of them survived to write those histories. Commander, we're approaching the coordinates, announced Navigator Lisa Wong. Dropping out of hyperspace in 3, 2, 1. The stars shifted back to their normal positions as the human ships emerged from hyperspace into a chaotic scene that none of them had been prepared for. The asteroid field was massive, stretching across millions of kilometers and filled with rocks ranging from pebbles to small planetoids. But it wasn't the asteroids that caught their attention, it was the ships. "My God," Park whispered as the tactical display updated with contact information. Surrounding the asteroid field were more than 30 vessels of varying sizes, most of them bristling with weapons and bearing the crude modifications typical of pirate ships. They were clearly Vortak raiders, and they had the area completely surrounded. Deep within the asteroid field, a single contact showed up as a much smaller vessel, presumably the Zilani research ship. But what truly shocked the human crews was the response to their arrival. As soon as the 3 human corvettes appeared on the scene, every single Vortak ship immediately began powering up weapons and turning toward them with obvious hostile intent. "All ships, red alert!" Rodriguez commanded over the fleet communication channel. "It looks like our rescue mission just became something much more complicated." Dr. Vasquez stared at the tactical display with growing alarm. "Commander, there are so many of them. How could 3 ships possibly make a difference against that kind of force?" Rodriguez looked at the overwhelming enemy numbers and felt a cold certainty settle in his stomach. They were completely outgunned and outnumbered. Any rational military commander would immediately retreat and call for reinforcements. But somewhere in that asteroid field was a small research vessel full of people who had called for help, and Rodriguez found that he couldn't bring himself to abandon them. "All ships, maintain formation but do not power weapons unless directly threatened." "We're going to try diplomacy first," Rodriguez ordered, though he suspected diplomacy would be a very short conversation. The lead Vortak vessel was already moving toward them, and Rodriguez could see on his display that its weapons were charging to full power. Whatever happened next, he realized that humanity was about to make a very dramatic entrance into galactic civilization. The Vortak communication came through as a harsh, guttural transmission that the human translation system struggled to process. When the words finally appeared on Commander Rodriguez's screen, they were filled with crude threats and demands for immediate surrender. "Unknown vessels, you interfere in Vortak business, surrender now or be destroyed. You have small ships, we have many, you die quickly if you surrender now." Rodriguez looked at the tactical display showing 30+ enemy ships against his 3 corvettes and made a decision that would haunt him for years to come. Instead of the diplomatic response he had planned, he found himself activating the fleet-wide communication channel. "This is Commander Miguel Rodriguez of the United Earth Defense Force. You are threatening civilians who called for humanitarian assistance. Withdraw from this area immediately or face the consequences." Lieutenant Commander Park stared at his commanding officer with barely concealed shock. "Sir, did you just threaten 30 enemy ships with our 3 corvettes?" "I believe I did, Park. And now we get to see what humanity is really made of." The response from the Vortak fleet was immediate and predictable. Every ship began moving toward the human vessels, weapons charging and targeting systems locking on. Rodriguez watched the approaching wave of enemies and felt a strange calm settle over him. "All ships, this is Rodriguez. We're about to engage a superior force in defense of people we've never met. I want everyone to remember that we're not just representing Earth today, we're showing the galaxy what humans do when innocent lives are at stake." Chief Engineer Martinez's voice crackled over the intercom. "Commander, all ships report ready for combat operations. Power levels at maximum, shields up, weapons systems armed." "Thank you, Chief. All ships, break formation. Execute Delta 7 maneuver. Let's show these pirates how Earth ships fight." The 3 human corvettes suddenly scattered in different directions, their movements coordinated but appearing random to outside observers. The Vortak ships, expecting a traditional formation battle, found themselves confused as the human vessels began using the asteroid field itself as cover. Captain Sandra Kim of the Guardian was the first to engage, her ship diving between 2 large asteroids as 3 Vortak raiders pursued her. Instead of trying to outrun them, she suddenly reversed course and came up behind the lead enemy ship, her plasma cannons finding weak spots in its hull with precision that shocked even her own crew. "Direct hit on enemy vessel 1, reported Guardian's weapons officer. Their shields are down and they're venting atmosphere." Meanwhile, Captain Lu Wei of the Defender was demonstrating tactics that the Vortak had never encountered. Instead of engaging in the stand-up firefights that most species preferred, he used the asteroids as weapons, positioning his ship so that enemy fire would strike the rocks and send debris cascading into other enemy vessels. Defender to fleet, Lou's voice came through the communication system with obvious excitement. These asteroids are perfect weapons if you know how to use them. Watch this. The Defender fired a precise burst at a medium-sized asteroid, causing it to fracture and send massive chunks flying into the path of an approaching Vortak cruiser. The enemy ship tried to avoid the debris but couldn't maneuver quickly enough. The impact sent it tumbling out of control into two of its companion vessels. Rodriguez, commanding from the Resilient, found himself amazed at how quickly his people adapted to three-dimensional combat in an asteroid field. Human spatial reasoning and tactical flexibility were proving to be advantages he had never considered in his military planning. Rodriguez to all ships, he transmitted. Keep using the environment. These pirates are used to fighting in open space. The asteroids are our friends. But the human ships were still vastly outnumbered, and the Vortak were beginning to coordinate their attacks more effectively. Rodriguez watched his tactical display as enemy ships began grouping together and using concentrated fire to clear paths through the asteroid field. That's when the first miracle happened. Deep within the asteroid field, the Zilani research vessel suddenly appeared on active sensors. But, instead of the damaged, helpless ship the humans had expected to rescue, the alien vessel was moving with purpose toward the human position. "Commander, we're receiving a transmission from the Zilani ship," Sarah announced with surprise in her voice. The message that came through was clearer than any previous transmission, as if the aliens had finally found someone who could speak standard galactic common properly. "Human vessels, this is Captain Threnody of the Zilani Research Expedition. We have watched your battle and are amazed by your tactics. We have weapons that can help, but we need coordination. Our ship is small but our technology might surprise these pirates." Dr. Vasquez looked up from her analysis station with excitement. "Commander, their ship may be small, but the energy readings we're getting suggest technology far more advanced than anything the Vortak are using." "Zilani vessel, this is Rodriguez. We welcome any assistance you can provide. What did you have in mind?" The response came quickly. "Our ship has experimental shielding technology that can extend protective fields to other vessels. We can protect your ships from concentrated fire if you can continue your asteroid tactics. But we need time to modify our systems." Rodriguez made a split-second decision that would change the course of the entire battle. "All human ships, form protective formation around the Zilani vessel. Give them whatever time they need." The three human corvettes suddenly changed tactics, moving from individual harassment attacks to a coordinated defense of their alien allies. The maneuver was risky. Concentrating their forces made them easier targets, but it also allowed them to demonstrate something that would become a cornerstone of human military doctrine in future galactic conflicts. Captain Kim found her ship bracketed by 4 Vortak raiders, their combined firepower overwhelming her shields. Just as she was preparing for emergency maneuvers, the Guardian was suddenly enveloped in a shimmering energy field projected from the Zilani research vessel. "My God," her science officer reported with awe. "Commander, their shield technology is deflecting energy fire and redirecting it back at the attackers. It's like they turned us into a mirror." The effect was devastating to the Vortak attackers. Their own weapons fire was reflected back at them with increased intensity, crippling 2 ships and forcing the others to break off their attack. Rodriguez watched this development with growing amazement. "Captain Threnody, that shield technology is incredible. How long can you maintain it?" "We can protect one of your ships at a time, but we must rotate the protection. The power requirements are enormous even for our advanced systems." What followed was a battle unlike anything recorded in galactic military history. The human ships would attack individually, using asteroids as cover and weapons, while the Zilani vessel provided rotating shield protection that turned enemy fire back on itself. The combination of human tactical innovation and alien technology proved devastating to the pirate fleet. But the most significant moment came when Rodriguez noticed something on his long-range sensors that made his blood run cold. More ships were approaching the battle, and they were big. "Commander, multiple large contacts approaching from the outer system," Navigator Wong reported with obvious concern. "Configuration unknown, but they're massive." The Vortak had apparently called for reinforcements. 3 enormous capital ships were moving toward the battle, each one larger than all the human corvettes combined. Rodriguez realized that their miraculous defense was about to become a hopeless last stand. "All ships, prepare for emergency hyperspace jump. We've done what we can here." But Captain Threnodi's voice came through with an emotion that the translation systems rendered as something between excitement and fear.
Commander Rodriguez, those are not Vortac reinforcements.
I do not recognize those ship configurations, but they are transmitting on human frequencies. Rodriguez stared at his display in confusion. The approaching ships were indeed transmitting human identification codes, but they were nothing like any vessels in the Earth Defense Force catalog. These ships were enormous, bristling with weapons, and built with technology that seemed years ahead of anything humanity currently possessed. The lead vessel opened a communication channel, and a familiar voice filled the bridge of the Resilient.
This is Admiral Harrison aboard the UES Titan. Rodriguez, what have you gotten yourself into this time? But it wasn't just Admiral Harrison's voice that shocked Rodriguez, it was the ship she was commanding. The Titan was supposed to be 36 hours away and was certainly not supposed to be the massive dreadnought that now dominated his tactical display. Admiral, how did you get here so quickly? And what is that ship you're commanding? Harrison's response came with a chuckle that carried undertones of amazement.
Miguel, when your distress call reached Earth Command, they made a decision that's going to change everything. Every available ship in the Sol system has been racing here at maximum speed.
We've been experimenting with some new technologies that we haven't told you border patrol units about yet.
As Rodriguez watched, more human ships began dropping out of hyperspace around the battlefield. But these weren't the familiar corvettes and frigates of the Earth Defense Force. These were vessels of incredible size and obvious power, equipped with technology that seemed almost alien in its advancement.
Dr. Vasquez was studying the sensor readings with growing excitement.
Commander, these new ships are using propulsion systems and energy signatures that are completely unknown to me.
Where did they come from?
The answer came from Captain Threnodi, whose voice carried a note of what might have been awe. Commander Rodriguez, these ships use technology similar to what we have only theorized about.
How did your species develop such advanced vessels without our knowledge?
Rodriguez found himself in the uncomfortable position of not knowing how to answer.
Earth Command had apparently been keeping secrets from their own border patrol units.
But, as he watched the massive human fleet spread out around the battlefield, he realized that the real shock was about to come for the Vortac pirates. The lead Vortac vessel, a massive raider that had been coordinating the pirate attacks, transmitted a desperate message as the new human ships took position around the asteroid field.
Unknown vessels, we withdraw, we did not know, please allow retreat.
Admiral Harrison's response was broadcast on all frequencies, and her words would be remembered throughout the galaxy for generations to come.
This is Admiral Patricia Harrison of the United Earth Defense Force.
You attacked civilians who called for help, and you threatened our people who came to assist them.
The age of piracy in this region is over.
Surrender now or face the full might of humanity. Rodriguez watched in amazement as the Vortac fleet, which had seemed so overwhelming just minutes before, began powering down weapons and transmitting surrender messages. The arrival of the human fleet had completely changed the tactical situation. But, as he looked at Captain Threnodi's research vessel, now safely protected by human ships, Rodriguez realized that this battle had changed much more than just one pirate raid.
Humanity had just announced its presence to the galactic community in the most dramatic way possible.
The surrender of the Vortac fleet happened faster than anyone had expected. Within 30 minutes of the human reinforcements arriving, more than 20 pirate vessels had powered down their weapons and were transmitting desperate pleas for mercy. The remaining ships that didn't surrender had fled the system at maximum speed, apparently preferring to risk engine failure rather than face the mysterious human fleet. Admiral Harrison's voice filled the communication channels as she coordinated the aftermath of the battle. All human vessels maintain positions but do not pursue fleeing ships. I want boarding parties on every surrendered vessel to secure prisoners and gather intelligence. And I want a full diplomatic team prepared to meet with our Zelani friends. Commander Rodriguez found himself in the unusual position of being both relieved and confused. The crisis was over, but nothing made sense anymore. As the Resilient docked with Admiral Harrison's flagship, he couldn't stop staring at the technological marvels surrounding him. The UES Titan was unlike anything he had ever seen in human engineering. The ship was nearly 2 kilometers long, equipped with energy weapons that seemed to bend space around them, and powered by systems that his engineering teams couldn't begin to understand. As Rodriguez walked through the corridors toward the Admiral's ready room, he felt like he was touring a ship from the future.
Admiral Harrison greeted him with a mixture of pride and exhaustion.
She looked exactly as he remembered her, but her uniform bore insignia and decorations he didn't recognize.
Miguel, sit down.
We have a lot to discuss, and very little time to discuss it.
Admiral, I have to ask, where did these ships come from? The Titan alone is more advanced than anything Earth was supposed to have.
Harrison poured herself a cup of coffee and offered one to Rodriguez.
That's a complicated question with an answer that's going to change your understanding of humanity's place in the universe.
She activated a holographic display that showed a timeline stretching back several decades. 27 years ago, a human deep space exploration vessel made contact with a derelict alien ship near the edge of the Sol system. That ship contained technology far beyond our understanding, but we've been reverse engineering it ever since.
Rodriguez stared at the display with growing amazement. We've had alien technology for 27 years? Why wasn't this information shared with the fleet?
Because the technology was incomplete, and Earth Command wasn't sure how other species would react to humans using reverse-engineered alien tech. The plan was to integrate it slowly into our existing systems while maintaining the appearance of normal technological development. The Admiral manipulated the holographic controls to show schematics of the new human ships.
The vessels you saw today represent the first fully operational integration of that technology with human engineering.
We were planning to reveal them gradually over the next few years, but your distress call forced our hand. Rodriguez studied the ship designs with professional interest. The fusion of alien technology with human engineering principles had created vessels that were both familiar and completely foreign. These ships are incredible, Admiral, but why bring so many? 3 corvettes could have handled that pirate fleet with this technology.
Harrison's expression grew serious. Because this wasn't just about rescuing one alien research vessel, Miguel. Your first contact with the Zilani represents humanity's formal introduction to galactic civilization.
Earth Command decided that our first impression should be memorable. As if summoned by their conversation, Dr. Vasquez's voice came through the communication system. Admiral Harrison, Commander Rodriguez, the Zilani delegation is ready to meet with us.
Captain Threnody is requesting permission to come aboard. Grant permission, Doctor. Have them escorted to Conference Room Alpha.
Rodriguez and Harrison made their way to the conference room, which had been equipped with atmospheric controls and translation systems designed to accommodate a variety of alien physiologies.
When the doors opened to admit the Zilani delegation, Rodriguez got his first close look at humanity's new alien allies.
Captain Threnody was humanoid but distinctly alien, with elongated limbs, pale blue skin, and large, multifaceted eyes that seemed to take in everything at once. She was accompanied by 2 other Zilani who carried themselves with the bearing of scientists rather than military personnel. Commander Rodriguez, Captain Threnody said, her voice carrying musical tones that the translation system rendered into accented but clear English.
We owe you a debt that cannot be easily repaid.
Your ships came to our aid when we had given up hope of survival.
Captain, we were responding to a distress call.
Any civilized species would have done the same thing. Threnody exchanged glances with her companions before responding. Commander, you misunderstand the significance of what happened today.
In galactic civilization, response to distress calls is complicated.
Most species require formal treaties, territorial negotiations, and extensive diplomatic protocols before rendering assistance to unknown aliens.
Admiral Harrison leaned forward with interest. Are you saying that humanitarian assistance is unusual in galactic civilization? Not unusual, Admiral, but highly regulated.
The fact that you responded immediately to our call, despite having no prior contact with our species, is considered either incredibly noble or incredibly naive by most galactic standards. Dr. Vasquez, who had been monitoring the conversation from a nearby workstation, spoke up with obvious curiosity.
Captain Threnody, what were you researching when the pirates attacked?
The message mentioned ancient ruins. Threnodi's expression grew excited, and she activated a holographic device that projected images of massive stone structures on alien worlds. We were investigating ruins left behind by a species called the Builders. They disappeared from the galaxy over 50,000 years ago, but their technology and knowledge represent the foundation of all modern galactic civilization. The holographic images showed ruins on a dozen different worlds, all bearing similar architectural styles and technological signatures. Rodriguez found himself staring at structures that seemed to defy conventional engineering principles. These builders, Harrison said slowly, their technology forms the basis of galactic civilization?
Including things like faster-than-light travel and energy weapons? Exactly, Admiral. Every spacefaring species in the galaxy uses technology derived from builder artifacts. It is what allows us to communicate across species barriers and maintain interstellar civilization. Rodriguez felt a cold certainty settling in his stomach as he realized the implications of what Threnody was saying. Captain, the technology your people use, it's all reverse-engineered from ancient alien artifacts? Yes, Commander. We have been studying builder technology for thousands of years, gradually unlocking its secrets. It is how the Zilani became one of the primary archaeological and scientific species in the galaxy. Dr. Vasquez looked up from her analysis of the Zilani data with growing excitement. Admiral, Commander, you need to see this. I've been comparing Captain Threnodi's builder artifacts with the data from Earth Command's classified files. She projected her analysis onto the main display, showing side-by-side comparisons of technology signatures and engineering principles. The similarities were undeniable and shocking. The alien derelict that Earth Command found 27 years ago, Dr. Vasquez announced with barely contained amazement, it was a builder vessel. The conference room fell silent as everyone processed the implications of this discovery. Captain Threnody stared at the comparative data with an expression that the translation systems couldn't quite render into human terms. This is impossible, Threnody said slowly. Builder ships were incredibly rare even at the height of their civilization. Finding an intact vessel is a discovery that happens perhaps once in 1,000 years. And, you are saying that humans found one and successfully reverse-engineered its technology? Admiral Harrison nodded grimly. Not only reverse-engineered it, Captain, but integrated it with our own technology in ways that created entirely new capabilities. Threnody studied the human ship schematics that Dr. Vasquez had projected alongside the builder technology data. Admiral, this is extraordinary. Most species spend centuries learning to use builder technology safely. The fact that humans successfully integrated it with your own engineering in mere decades suggests capabilities that should not be possible. What kind of capabilities? Rodriguez asked, though he wasn't sure he wanted to know the answer. The kind that typically take species thousands of years of galactic civilization to develop, Threnody replied. Commander, in galactic terms, humanity is what we would classify as a newly emergent species. You achieved faster-than-light travel only recently, you have had no contact with other civilizations, and your technology should be primitive by galactic standards. She gestured at the display showing human builder hybrid technology. But, these ships represent capabilities that rival the most advanced species in the galaxy. The weapons systems alone are beyond what most civilizations can produce. Dr. Vasquez was studying her analysis with growing amazement. Captain, there's something else. The modifications human engineers made to the builder technology, they're not just copying alien designs. They're genuine improvements. Improvements? Threnodi's voice carried an emotion that might have been disbelief. Dr. Vasquez, builder technology is considered the pinnacle of engineering achievement. Most species spend their entire civilizations trying to understand it, not improve upon it. Admiral Harrison activated her personal communication device. Dr. Vasquez, I'm authorizing you to share Level 7 classified information with Captain Threnody. She needs to understand what human engineers have accomplished. Dr. Vasquez's fingers flew across her control interface, bringing up technical specifications that Rodriguez had never seen before. The data showed human modifications to builder technology that had increased efficiency, reduced power requirements, and added capabilities that the original designers had never intended. The fusion reactors in our ships, Dr. Vasquez explained, use builder energy containment technology, but with human-designed magnetic field manipulation that increases power output by 300%. Our weapons systems use builder energy projection principles, but with targeting and focusing systems that human tactical specialists developed. Threnody studied the technical data with an expression of growing amazement. This level of innovation typically requires thousands of years of technological development. How did humans achieve this so quickly? Because, Admiral Harrison said with a slight smile, humans don't accept limitations very well. When our engineers found technology they didn't understand, they didn't just copy it, they tried to make it better. Rodriguez was beginning to understand the true significance of what had happened today. Admiral, when word of this spreads through galactic civilization,
When word of this spreads, Harrison finished, every major power in the galaxy is going to want to know how humanity developed such advanced capabilities so quickly.
And they're going to want to either ally with us or eliminate us as a potential threat.
Captain Threnody was still studying the technical data, but her attention seemed focused on something else entirely.
Admiral Harrison, there is something else you must understand.
The Builder civilization didn't just disappear, they were destroyed in a galactic war that lasted for thousands of years.
Destroyed by whom?
By a species called the Devourers. They were an expansionist empire that consumed entire worlds and enslaved other species. The Builders created their most advanced technology specifically to fight the Devourers, but even that was not enough to save them.
The conference room fell silent as the implications of this information settled over the human representatives. Dr. Vasquez was the first to speak. Captain, are these Devourers still active in the galaxy?
They have been dormant for 50,000 years, but recent archaeological evidence suggests they may be awakening. The Galactic Council has been monitoring signs of Devourer activity in the Outer Rim sectors. Rodriguez felt a cold certainty settling in his stomach.
And now humanity appears on the galactic stage with advanced builder technology just as the Devourers might be returning?
The timing, Threnody admitted, is either incredibly fortunate or incredibly ominous, depending on one's perspective. Admiral Harrison stood up, her expression grim but determined.
Captain Threnody, I think it's time we discussed formal diplomatic relations between humanity and the Zilani. Because it sounds like the galaxy is about to become a very dangerous place.
The diplomatic negotiations between humanity and the Zilani took place over the following week aboard Admiral Harrison's flagship, but they were interrupted repeatedly by incoming communications from across the galaxy. The Builder's sight that appeared before the human fleet defied every expectation they had formed about ancient alien ruins. Instead of the crumbling structures they had seen in Captain Threnodi's research data, the facility floating in space was clearly active, its crystalline surfaces pulsing with energy that made their sensors struggle to maintain coherent readings. Admiral, the entire structure is nearly 50 kilometers across and appears to be some form of artificial construct rather than a planetary installation, Dr. Vasquez reported with obvious amazement. Energy output is off the charts, and I'm detecting what appear to be docking bays sized for vessels much larger than anything in our fleet.
Commander Rodriguez studied the tactical displays with growing concern.
Admiral, whatever this thing is, it's been waiting here for thousands of years. The question is whether it's waiting for us specifically or just waiting for anyone who might find it. Captain Threnody was analyzing the structure with her own instruments, her expression shifting between excitement and fear.
Admiral, this is beyond anything my people have ever discovered. Most builder ruins are inactive archaeological sites.
This facility appears to be a fully operational starbase. As they approached the massive structure, communication systems across the human fleet suddenly activated without any input from their operators. The voice that emerged spoke in perfect, unaccented English that suggested a level of linguistic analysis far beyond anything they had encountered.
Welcome, inheritors of builder technology.
I am the custodian of this facility, established to await those who might continue the work that was left unfinished 50,000 years ago.
Admiral Harrison stepped forward to respond, though she wasn't sure whether she was addressing an artificial intelligence, an alien entity, or something else entirely. Custodian, I am Admiral Harrison of the human species.
We discovered builder technology and have come seeking information about its origins and purpose.
Admiral Harrison, your species has achieved builder technology integration in remarkably short time.
This facility was constructed to provide resources and knowledge to those who might face the challenges that destroyed my creators. Dr. Vasquez was monitoring the communication with growing excitement.
Admiral, the linguistic patterns suggest an artificial intelligence with capabilities far beyond our current technology. It's not just translating our language, it's analyzing our cultural and technological context in real time.
Custodian, we understand that your creators faced a threat called the Devourers.
Are we correct in assuming that this facility was designed to help future species defend against that same threat?
The Devourers were the immediate threat, Admiral, but they were merely the first of many challenges that would face galactic civilization. My creators understood that future species would need capabilities beyond mere survival, they would need the power to reshape the galaxy itself.
Rodriguez exchanged glances with Admiral Harrison as the implications of this statement became clear. Custodian, are you saying the builders intended for other species to inherit their full technological capabilities?
Commander Rodriguez, the builders created this facility specifically to ensure that worthy species could access their most advanced technology without the limitations imposed by established galactic authorities. Captain Threnody moved closer to the communication station with obvious alarm.
Admiral, the custodian is describing technology that was specifically designed to circumvent Council authority. If the current Council discovers this facility, the current Council, the custodian interrupted, maintains galactic stability through technological suppression and political control. This approach ensures peace but prevents the advancement necessary to face future existential threats. Admiral Harrison felt pieces of a vast puzzle clicking into place in her mind. Custodian, the Galactic Council is currently mobilizing fleets to assess humanity's technological capabilities.
They seem concerned about the speed of our builder technology integration.
The Council fears technological advancement that occurs outside their oversight because such advancement represents potential challenges to their authority.
Admiral, your species achieved builder technology integration through independent innovation rather than Council-supervised development. This pattern indicates capabilities that the Council has historically found problematic.
Dr. Vasquez looked up from her analysis with growing amazement. Admiral, I'm detecting massive energy signatures from within the facility.
Whatever technology the custodian has access to, it makes our most advanced ships look primitive.
Dr. Vasquez is correct, the custodian confirmed.
This facility contains builder technology that represents their ultimate achievements, systems designed not merely for defense, but for galactic transformation. Rodriguez felt a cold certainty settling in his stomach.
Custodian, what kind of transformation are we talking about?
The builders understood that galactic civilization would eventually face threats that could not be defeated through conventional means. They created technology capable of restructuring space itself, of accelerating technological development across entire species, and of establishing new forms of interstellar civilization. Admiral Harrison stared at the massive structure with growing awe and concern.
And you're offering this technology to humanity?
I am offering humanity the choice that my creators intended to preserve. You may continue developing your current capabilities under Council oversight, accepting the limitations that such oversight entails. Or you may inherit the full legacy of builder technology and accept the responsibilities that come with such power.
Captain Threnody was studying her instruments with obvious alarm.
Admiral, I'm detecting Council fleet signatures at the edge of the system.
They've arrived much sooner than anticipated.
The tactical display suddenly filled with contact signatures as dozens of ships dropped out of hyperspace at various points around the system. These were not the crude pirate vessels they had faced before, these were the advanced warships of galactic civilization's most powerful military force. Admiral Harrison, came a transmission from the lead Council vessel. You are ordered to withdraw from that facility immediately. Builder sites of this classification are restricted under galactic preservation protocols. Harrison looked at the Council fleet, then, at the massive builder facility, and realized that humanity was facing a choice that would determine their species' future for millennia to come.
Custodian, if we accept your offer, what exactly would that mean for humanity?
Admiral, it would mean that your species becomes the inheritor of builder technology and the guardian of their mission to advance galactic civilization beyond its current limitations. It would also mean that you become the primary target of every force in the galaxy that benefits from maintaining the current system. Rodriguez was monitoring the Council fleet movements with growing concern. Admiral, they're taking attack positions around the system.
Whatever decision we make, we need to make it quickly. Dr. Vasquez, what does your analysis tell you about our options?
Dr. Vasquez studied her data with the focused intensity that had made her one of Earth's leading xenobiologists. Admiral, the Council represents stability and established order, but also technological stagnation and political control. The Custodian represents advancement and independence, but also conflict and responsibility for reshaping galactic civilization. In other words, Admiral Harrison said grimly, we can either accept supervision by alien authorities or take responsibility for leading galactic advancement ourselves.
That assessment is accurate, Admiral, the Custodian confirmed.
The choice is between security and freedom, between stability and progress. Captain Threnody spoke up with obvious concern.
Admiral, most species choose security and stability.
The responsibilities that come with builder technology inheritance have proven overwhelming for previous candidates.
Previous candidates? Rodriguez asked.
7 species have been offered this choice over the past 50,000 years, the custodian explained.
6 chose to work within council oversight rather than accept full builder technology inheritance.
The 7th accepted the inheritance but was eventually destroyed by the combined opposition of established galactic powers.
Admiral Harrison felt the weight of species-level decision-making settling on her shoulders.
She was being asked to choose humanity's path in galactic civilization without consultation with Earth Command, without diplomatic protocols, and without any guarantee of success.
Admiral, came another transmission from the Council fleet. You have 5 minutes to comply with withdrawal orders. Failure to comply will result in enforcement action.
Harrison looked around the conference room at her officers and allies, seeing determination mixed with fear on every face. She thought about Earth, about humanity's history of exploration and innovation, about their refusal to accept limitations imposed by others.
Custodian, if humanity accepts builder technology inheritance, what support would you provide?
This facility contains manufacturing systems capable of producing vessels and weapons beyond current galactic capabilities. It also contains educational systems that can accelerate your technological development by centuries. Most importantly, it contains communication networks that can contact other hidden builder facilities throughout the galaxy.
Other facilities? How many? 47 additional installations remain active and awaiting inheritors.
Admiral, the builders established a galaxy-wide network designed to support species capable of advancing beyond current civilizational limitations. Dr. Vasquez looked up from her calculations with growing excitement. Admiral, if even half of those facilities are as advanced as this one, we're talking about resources that could revolutionize not just human civilization, but galactic civilization as a whole.
And the price for this advancement?
The price, the custodian said simply, is the responsibility to use these capabilities for the benefit of all galactic civilization, not merely for human advantage. The builders created this network to advance everyone, not to create a new form of galactic dominance. Rodriguez was monitoring incoming communications from the human fleet. Admiral, our ships are reporting ready status.
Whatever decision you make, Earth's finest are prepared to support it. Admiral Harrison took a deep breath and made the decision that would echo through galactic history for thousands of years to come.
Custodian, humanity accepts the inheritance of builder technology and the responsibilities that come with it.
We will work to advance galactic civilization for the benefit of all species, not just our own. The response was immediate and dramatic.
The builder facility suddenly blazed with energy as systems that had waited 50,000 years for activation came online. Around the human fleet, space itself seemed to shimmer as the facility's defensive systems activated.
Admiral Harrison, the custodian announced, "Welcome to the true galactic community.
Prepare to receive builder knowledge and to begin the transformation that will reshape this galaxy forever."
The Council fleet's response was swift and predictable. All units, the humans have activated a restricted builder facility. Execute containment protocols immediately.
What followed was not the one-sided battle the Council had expected. As their ships moved to attack positions, they found themselves facing not just the human fleet, but the defensive systems of a fully operational builder facility equipped with technology that had been designed to challenge the galaxy's established powers. Admiral Harrison watched as humanity officially announced its intention to change galactic civilization forever, and realized that their simple response to an alien distress call had evolved into something that would be remembered as the beginning of a new age in galactic history. The age of human independence had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same.